Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snurdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna make magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. Ain't notice she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the goat, talking about animation cause you know. Odie she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snurdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snurdy, ooh. Black and Snurdy, yeah. Black and Snurdy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Snurdy podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorish.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned nerds here on episode 139 of the Black and Snurdy podcast. How you feeling?
I'm feeling
How you
pretty
feeling?
good.
How you doing?
Feeling pretty good. You know, it's Sunday, so have the kind of Sunday scaries. But otherwise, you know.
Sunday scaries. What do you mean?
Yeah, because it's like they call it Sunday scaries when you're going into the next work week.
Okay.
And it's like just the idea of having to go back into.
Yeah, I have
do
those on
things.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Saturdays is my Sundays, so that's completely understandable. I know that feeling all too well. I'm doing well. So far, so good. Can't complain. This has been a quick week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the week kind of flew by.
Yeah.
But this next week is going to be long. I have one-on-ones that I have to do, which means I'm going to be staying late for work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those direct reports, they are a talker. Like it's crazy because they only talk around me, which
maybe you make them feel safe.
I make them feel safe, and that's good and stuff like that. But like they go on long. Like I will ask them a question that should take a minute to answer, and he will go for like 40 minutes. They will go for like 40 minutes. I don't want to say who it is or anything like that, but like, yeah. So.
I mean, you make them feel safe. So that's a good thing that they feel comfortable enough to, you know, open up to you.
Yeah, I guess that's good. But that's how I'm doing. And that's all there is to it. So should we get started?
Sure.
Okay. We should probably take a beat real quick to honor those who have come and gone or who have passed away in our RIP section, which has music.
It's been.
Nope, that's not the music. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. This is our RIP section.
Unfortunately, this week, there's honestly been a few people, both in pop culture and out of pop culture have passed who we can't name all of them, but two of them that we wanted to mention. One, the creator and the head writer of the animated series Courage and the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, yeah.
If you grew up in the 90s, I'm sure that you watched the show one time or another. But David Stephen Cohen passed away on March 17th at the age of 66, which is really way too young for anyone to go. But he had unfortunately been facing a battle with cancer. But throughout his long career, he had contributed to shows such as Pee-wee's Playhouse, Living Single, which I did not know. Alf, he co-wrote the screenplay for the animated film Balto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which, you know, he had a very varied career. And of course, he worked on Courage the Cowardly Dog from 1999 to 2000. So, you know, shout out to him, and we're giving our love and condolences to his family. He earned multiple Emmy nominations and some Writers Guild awards for the Wubblest World of Dr. Seuss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we thank you for what you brought to pop culture, to animation. I mean, I feel like so many of us who are millennials, we know who Courage was. Even my students, one day I was giving them like a test or something like that, and they thought one of the images that I had that I wanted them to like describe, they thought it was a character from Courage. And I was like, no, it's not. I forgot what it was, but I was like, that's not Courage. But his work has spanned generations. So, thank you for what you've done. And then the other day we had a shocker when we learned that the great champ George Foreman passed away at 76. George Foreman was a legendary 2-time heavyweight boxing champion. He was an Olympic gold medalist and also a marketing guru, because after he retired from boxing, he went on to create his George Foreman grills, which sold millions of dollars. But he passed away on March 21st at the age of 76.
And my mom used to collect those grills, like, because they would come out like different styles. She had the original one that was like the long white flat iron. She had like the 2 double-decker one, like the one that had the blue like dome casing, so that you could like
make eggs and stuff.
Yeah. So, and I used to drink the grease.
Yes,
out the grease trap.
You used to drink the grease, which is one of the things that I always remember about you.
Yeah.
But George Foreman had, an immensely successful career. He gained a gold medal at the 1968 Mexico City Olympics. He became the world heavyweight champion in 1973 after he defeated Joe Frazier. He faced Muhammad Ali in 1974 in the iconic Rumble in the Jungle. Happened in Zaire, and that's when he had his first professional loss. Which, I mean, if you're going to lose to anyone, Muhammad Ali is the one to beat.
Yeah.
And then he retired in 1977, made a comeback in 1987. And in 1994, which I didn't even realize, when he was 45 years old, he became the oldest heavyweight champion after he defeated Michael Moorer, which is like at 45 to come back to fight somebody after you've been retired for a while. That is a huge feat. But he had a successful entrepreneur with his George Foreman Grill, as we mentioned. And he also was an ordained minister, which I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was a philanthropist, and he had founded a youth and community center in Houston. And he is survived by his wife, Mary Joan, and his 12 children. That is a long legacy.
And aren't they all named like George
I think
something?
There's like a George 3. There's several of his children are named a variation of George.
Yeah.
But I was watching a clip that someone actually had from King of the Hill.
Yeah. Hank was like, we don't
sell novelty
grills. Like, yours is like an iron.
But no, it's we just have to say thank you for what you brought to the world of sports, to pop culture, to our kitchens. Because I don't know of anyone who didn't grow up hearing about George Foreman, because at least I know, like, my grandmother, she always like loved him, and my parents always saw him as this legend. So thank you for what you did. We always have to just give people their flowers when they're here, and when they're gone, just say thank you. And we hope that we are continuing on to fight the good fight, make you proud, and sending our love and our condolences to his family and loved ones.
Yeah, agreed. All right. So, with that being said, let us move into our pop culture segment.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick?
Pop topics. All right, pop topics. Where do you want to start off with pop topics?
All right. We have a lot of shenanigans this week to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do like the politic-y stuff? Do you want to do things in politics first and then go into pop culture, like media things, or do you want to do media first and then politics last?
Let's get the politics out of the way first.
Let's rip off the band-aid.
Yes, yeah.
And just get into the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
First up, Trump has yet again tried to try and figure out a way of making Americans stupider than they already are.
Mm-hmm.
Because
idiocracy in action.
Idiocracy in action. This past week, he signed a plan to dismantle the Department of Education. He signed an executive order on Thursday, which is a part of his campaign promise. So it's not necessarily, I'm not surprised that he has done this. He's constantly said that the education department is wasteful, polluted by wokes and liberals, the liberal left. Thankfully, you could not completely dismantle the Department of Education without an act of Congress, which, I mean, that's great, but I don't honestly trust and believe that our Congress would not go through with this. I mean, right now we might have enough people on the left to be able to counteract, but you know, we're having midterms coming up, and already we see how the Democrats have been just resting on their laurels. And
Democrats haven't really been
like so
proactive
of like, oh, we don't know what to do, can't do anything, and so here we are. But I mean, the Department of Education is, I found out when I was reading this the article from the AP News, it's really not old. It's actually younger than both of our parents because it was not created until 1979.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which you would think that like it would have been around much longer, but it wasn't. And I mean, like here in New York, I think that we probably will not face so much backlash from this because we are a blue state.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, find that education, science, and things like that are important.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have to think about all of these other states who do not have same kind of like
safety
guards and buffers.
Mm-hmm.
And on Twitter this week, I saw after this was announced, this person tweeted that Speaker Mike Johnson from the great state of Louisiana wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Now, if you will see in this picture,
it's spelled Louisiana.
Louisiana is misspelled. And that probably shows you really just like in action how the idiocy of this country is at the top levels.
Mm-hmm.
Did nobody spell check? You don't even have like this is not the times where like everybody was just writing things out by hand and sewing stuff by hand where you could not make sure like, oh, there's a spelling mistake. How many people have looked at this and not once said, hey, I think there's a little issue here. And maybe they didn't even know there was an issue because they can't spell. And it also makes me worry about states like Mississippi, who also have very, very low literacy rates already, and state reading levels, math scores, etc., already in the trash. Places like Texas, where they were already talking about a few years ago, put in the textbooks that the enslaved people were volunteers.
Yeah, and
No, they were
volunteered.
voluntarily came over so they can explore the new world.
Yeah.
And I am really saddened by the state of affairs, because I see every day going to school and just talking to other teachers, reading what other teachers are posting. There are so many students already who are at a disadvantage. Yes, part of it can be because of what COVID did to students like in school and how that impacted them, but also like we have tablets, we have uninterested parents, we have just the dumbing down of the generations. And we're seeing it in action. Trump already wanted to have a freaking wrestling exec being the people's champ, and or doing the people's elbow for the DOE, Linda McMahon.
Oh, I was about to say, like, who are you referring to? Hulk Hogan? Like,
listen, I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
Yeah,
if
and
he was
on the
be
party
tapped.
ticket or something like that. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's very frustrating. And Linda McMahon, of course, she was approved by Congress.
Oh shit!
Raise your hands up. I know, it was so shocking. She said that she was going to remove the red tape and empower states to decide what's best for their schools. But she promised to continue its essential services and work with states and Congress to ensure a lawful and orderly transition, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, what was that woman that was Secretary of Education in his first?
Are you sure it wasn't Linda McMahon?
No, she's new. First Department of Ed 20. When did he come in? 2016? What was her name? Damn it. I'm looking. Sorry. We can cut this part out if need be. Because she was really stupid as well. And I just have this feeling that you just keep putting Betsy DeVos.
Oh, Betsy DeVos.
Yeah. From 2017 to 2021. I keep feeling like you keep putting in these people in our education to like head the education department who are terrible at their jobs, because you have this desire to each term make it
dumb down the masses.
Dumbing people down. And this idea of school choice, like in theory, sounds great, but there's a reason why we have mandatory public school. There's a reason why we have the curriculums are the way they are. We look at them, and not to say that there are not things that need to be changed. We could talk about the school to prison pipeline, and we could talk about how you just are forcing students to study or learn for just a test to make sure it looks good versus them actually understanding the material. All those things are true, but there's a reason why you need to have a curriculum and a reason why things need to be standardized in some ways, because at the end of the day, most people are not equipped to be able to teach their children like what they need, as we saw during the pandemic, because most people themselves are not really like, if you were to just yourself as a 30-something person, take a middle school test, take a test of all the basics that you learn in middle school, you will fail. It's not easy. It's not something anyone can just do and be able, and even if you can do it, be able to teach it. So, that is just, we are just constantly having to fight back against foolishness. And hopefully in the next 4 years, there are not more things that we have, we're just adding on to this bullshit mountain. But, here we are.
Yeah.
The next thing that came out this week that Trump changed is that no longer do federal contracts need to adhere to the non-segregation? What is the word? They're no longer they're no longer banned. So you could have a segregated facility if you want. It doesn't matter at this point because Trump said so. So that means restaurants, waiting rooms, of course, the famous drinking fountains. The NPR clause reading said the segregation clause is one of the several identified in a public memo issued by the General Services Administration last month affecting all civil federal agencies. The memo explains it's making changes prompted by President Trump's executive order on DEI, which repealed an executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 regarding federal contractors and non-discrimination. The memo also addresses the executive order on gender identity. And I mean, do I think that people are going to just start putting up like whites only signs? Probably not. But I don't know. Do you feel like they should? I don't know. What do you think?
It would, if they did that, it would help me to avoid certain places.
This is true.
Like, you know, like not just places where I'm not allowed to go or anything like that, but a lot of times, like if it for nightlife, like certain, but certain. This is a bummer because bars, like there are a lot of cheap white bars and
$4 shots and stuff.
Basically, every black bar that I have ever been has been like, oh, we're going to charge $15 for a Corona. You know what I mean? And let's not even get into the cocktails. And happy hour only lasts for like 3 hours on a random day during the week, in the middle of the week,
from 4 to 6.
From 4 to 6, and it's only $2 off $20 wings.
I saw this video that I felt like perfectly surmised kind of how I'm feeling about this. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He goes and does like these little subway interviews.
I've seen.
He did a interview, and this is what he had to say. But they had.
So what's your take?
Bring back segregation.
100% disagree.
Dead and bring it back. I want to know where I'm not welcome. Okay, put them signs back up. Colors only, whites only. Let's do it. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off. Especially for a restaurant. Are you kidding me? Whites only? What do I want to do in there? What they got? Mashed potatoes, mayonnaise, hot dogs. Colors only, we got seasoning, turmeric, paprika.
Okay, I like this.
Okay.
You were saying that the black excellence.
Absolutely.
The segregation is to get
the colored excellence.
Okay.
Okay. What's the playlist in the whites only spot? They playing Carrie Underwood and Kid Rock. We playing Babyface and Diggable Planets. Ain't no overhead lighting. What are you talking about?
Wait, where am I going?
Colors.
Hell yeah.
Look at his hair. Talk about where am I going? That's the problem with North Africans.
That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. I'm in. 100% agree. Let's go.
Talk about where I'm going.
Oh, man, yeah.
What happens to you in the summertime?
Where are we putting the Italians?
Listen.
I just want to know.
I don't need their food. I don't like tomatoes.
So they're going on the white side.
Black people spend over $1 trillion a year. I would love for the government to force us to spend it on our own people.
This is very good.
Yes.
I like this a lot.
I brought you over to the side.
And the black airplane?
Oh, come on. The soul plane, baby.
I want to be on soul plane.
Yes, there's going to be noisy on there, but that's what noise cancellation headphones are for. You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to have all the good movies?
All the good movies, all the good music.
Oh, man.
And while we at it, bring back sundown towns. They never left, but...
What's that?
Well, a sundown town was back in the day during Jim Crow, where black people weren't allowed to be in a town after the sunset.
Wow.
So those towns never left. They still exist in America, but they took the signs down. I want them to put the signs back up. I wanted to say 248 miles to the next town that likes colored people. Get your gas in Atlanta. Don't stop till you get to Savannah, all right?
I'm with her.
He with me.
Yes. So I think like the main things about segregation, that those points that she made. One, food. We're still gonna have the better food.
Yeah, of course we're gonna have the better food.
Always gonna have the better food.
Yeah.
There was one of the creators of, I think he created the Green Book, which, you know, if like during that time of segregation, Jim Crow, there people created these green books, which were basically like, this is the safe towns from.
Yeah, these are the books. I mean, these are the places where you can go.
Exactly. And
yeah.
so there was one man who, like, after segregation ended, he went to a restaurant, a white restaurant. He ate there, and he was like, "This was the worst food I've ever tasted. This is what we were fighting for. This nasty ass green bean casserole or whatever." Like, that is the part where I say yes, because at the end of the day, if white people say whites only, and they're gonna have to be very explicit, what type of whites? Do you mean all whites? Because that question about the Italians is gonna come up.
It is gonna come up.
A lot of them are pretty olive, pretty swarthy, with curly, kinky hair. Where are they gonna go? We're gonna have a new form of like racial identities popping up, and where are people going to want to go? Are they going to want to go?
I feel like the Italians are going to want to go to the white side. I don't know why this thumbs up came up, but yeah.
I mean, maybe because it was
agreeing.
It was agreeing with you. But there's been a lot of conversation on Twitter recently about whether segregation was a time that was better for Black people or not. And I feel like I'm kind of torn, because in the sense that I do not feel like integration worked. One, anywhere that when during segregation, we had Black towns with Black people, like really all showing. It was like you looked around, everybody looked like you. Everyone's working hard. Everyone is trying to get like be their best, etc. And I think that sort of created a sense of pride in us, and knowing it's like we're working hard and we're doing these things. But when integration happened in every facet of our life, whether it was in schools, then being overrun by white teachers, in the media, all the Black, I think that's happening because of me.
Yeah, it is.
The Black journalists who were leaving their Black publishing companies and, the publishers to go to work for like the New York Times, etc., places that never wanted us there in the first place. And it took all of the important Black news, brought it to these white publications, where then you were just the Black reporter only talking about the Black things. Yeah. And so it kind of had a brain drain on our communities. On the flip side, it was that during segregation, we had to deal with such subpar everything. And then, of course, the fear of like, if you drive through this town, are you going to be harassed? And are you going to be, that's assaulted, beaten? But that still happens now.
That's now.
Did I ever tell you,
a bunch of places in the South? My
cousin, she and her husband, before they had their kids, they were doing like a road trip from New York down to, I think, Florida. And they came from London. And so it's like, of course, living in London, it's not like they don't know anything about racism. But like American
racism is a unique style
very
of racism.
Unique.
Yeah.
And were driving through the South, and they stopped at like one of those gas station diners. And she was like, they got in there. Everyone was kind of looking at them kind of weird, but they weren't really thinking about it. And they sat down, and somebody like, I think it wasn't even a person that worked there. It was like a diner, like had pulled out their gun and kind of put it on the table. Yeah. And then everyone was just acting weird. So they quickly hightailed it out of there. They got on the good foot and said, all right, we'll go and pee and get food at the next town. So that was in like 2018, maybe. Yeah. Like that wasn't even that far away.
Yeah, I told you about how my dad, when he was living in Charleston, he got pulled over by a cop, and the cop called him boy and everything like that, right?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Regardless of whether segregation has been like legal in this country, it has happened. It still happens. Yeah. Long Island, and Long Island is one of the most segregated places in the at least New York area, or like the Northeast. Sure. There were plenty of times in my life where I would go places, we'd be the only Black people. People would be staring at us like we had three heads being somewhere. So it's like, even though segregation has been illegal for some time, it hasn't actually been like a real active force in this country to make sure that we're actually integrating places.
Sure.
So at this point, it's kind of like, yeah, just tell me if you don't like me. That's the thing about when we talk about like racism from the North and the South. The thing about the North is like we have racism, but it's kind of like it's not in your face. Like in the
it's hidden.
South.
It's hidden. You have to decode it. You have to
decode it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, you know what? In the South, I might go into a ice cream shop, and a man will be there with his Confederate flag on his back. But at least I know.
Yeah.
I know.
There are certain signifiers that let you know that, like, hey, you're not welcome.
And even the thing is, when I'm in the South, I will say, even when they have their Confederate flags up and stuff, they might have up those Confederate flags, but they will be pleasant and polite. As long as you are not stopping to do anything really serious in their space, and you're not like really trying to get into their that area, you just passing through. In general, things have been fine. But I feel like if you are racist, you don't want my money, let me know. Because they've been doing it in covert ways, kind of. Like
dog whistling.
Yes, lots of dog whistles. Remember when H&M made the monkey shirt?
Yes, I do remember that.
All these fashion houses have always done some racist bullshit one time or another, and everyone was like, I don't know, maybe was it really that bad? And so now I'm just like, no, let's just say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Because what she said in that video was correct. Black people spend so much money. And I would like us to be forced to spend it on ourselves, because then maybe we would really have a Wakanda that we've been looking for.
And maybe if we spent enough of it on ourselves, then it would diversify within the Black realm to have places that are cheap dive bars, Black cheap dive bars, places where you can actually afford it and you're not like paying out the ass just for the experience, on some Keith Lee shit in Atlanta shit.
No, this is
like
true.
maybe then because I equate it to comedies, in that like white people have for the longest time had like any number of styles of comedy movies, whereas Black people only had Black comedies. You know what I mean? And Black comedies were just the one genre in Target, whereas now there's a myriad of different styles of Black stories and Black movies and Black entertainment. So as like now the quality has increased,
exactly,
in that now there's top level shit, there's medium level shit, there's lower level shit.
Yes, we need it all.
Yeah, we need it all.
We're allowed to have it all. And that is the part where I'm like, maybe as Black
I deserve it all.
We need to just have it be ourselves. And it's not just Black. So we can have like a colored section. All of us coloreds, if we actually banded together and spent our money together.
I don't know if I'd want a whole colored section. Because again, that's not, and I'm not trying to be like on some racist shit. I just mean like it's better as a signifier if you just like say this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this.
So we're each having our own little separate towns.
Yeah, our own little islands,
Yeah, but I feel like that's gonna be like, I just like even
it makes it hard to travel, obviously, but
like I feel
New York is a melting pot, so like it would just go back to what it was in those black and white eras. Like we just moved to Harlem, we
Chinatown, Little Italy, Little Haiti.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
that's all it would be. That's all it would be.
The thing is, like, as a Black person, am I able to go to Chinatown? Am I going to be welcome there? Because I don't want to give up dim sum. I don't want to not be able to go to, like, get some curry. I want to get some bulgogi and Korean.
Well, this is the downside of being a fucking foodie. It's that you're gonna have to give up all the other stuff and just love soul food for the rest of your life.
Well, we have other things in the Black diaspora.
I know. We
we
have a swallow, and
there's so many things. But I also would like to have some, and also I mean, well, I will say there are.
Yeah, we have
Africans,
soul food, Caribbean food. We have
African food,
Nigerian food,
South American.
Yeah, so like there's a variety within our.
I will say the folks in the diaspora are gonna get upset because Caribbean
They'll be
people,
lumped in with black people.
No, that's not why. Caribbean people and African people, they love Asian food. So I don't know how. And also, what about the Caribbeans? So many Caribbeans are mixed up with Asian. So how could we possibly have a divider between us? There's too much overlap. I don't think that would be possible for us to have only like black people one place, Asian people one place, Latin people. There's too much overlaps in our communities.
No, I'm sorry to say this, but those overlaps are gonna disappear, and it'll just be hard lines. Hard lines. So get ready for
colored people section.
Get ready to only eat a lot of pork.
As long as we work on our
4/5, 5/5 fucking not virginity, vegan virginity.
As long as we, as a collective of colored folk, can work on the internalized anti-blackness and internalized white supremacy, I think that all colored people should be together because that is how we win. And that is my stance on that one. But please, whites only places, put your stuff up, especially if they're terrible food, because who cares? I mean, I will miss the $4 shots, but sometimes we gotta let some stuff go.
Sure.
All right, what else is going on in the lands? I think that might have been it for
politics.
Oh, well, okay. All right. So speaking of racism, there's a West Virginia couple who has been sentenced to hundreds of years in prison for their roles in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer K. Whitefeather has received 215 years in prison.
If your name has white in it, you're already on the back foot.
Yes. It was very on the nose.
Yeah.
She has gotten 215 years in prison. And her husband, Donald Lance, has gotten, he got, I think it says 160 years in prison because they were adopting Black children in in West Virginia, and were forcing them to do heavy labor, locking them in their bedrooms and making them stand for hours with their hands on their heads. That was a part of that was in the
what kind of torture is that? Like, just to do like this?
Yeah, but can you imagine doing that for hours and hours and hours?
I'm trying to figure out why would they do that?
Because they could. Like, I don't think there was the rhyme or reason is just because they could do it. Like, if you are an abuser, I mean, you're just going to do something because who's going to stop you? Who would they had the means and they had the the ability.
How many did they say how many kids that were affected by all this? Probably not, right?
Let me check. I think that okay. It says here. So here is an image of the couple. They look exactly.
They look exactly how you would think they would look. And what is the shed?
That's where they were keeping the kids. They adopted 5.
Dear God.
They adopted 5 Black siblings while they were living in Minnesota. Moved to a farm in Washington State in 2018. Then brought the family to West Virginia in May 2023. When the children were aged were when the children were from ages 5 to 16. The couple was arrested 5 months after they got to Sissonville, West Virginia, because one of the neighbors saw Lance lock the oldest girl and her teenage brother in a shed and leave the property. And inside the main residence, they found a 9-year-old girl who was found crying in a loft alone with no protection from falling. The children were dirty, in dirty clothes, smelling of body odor. The oldest boy was barefoot with sores on his feet. A 4th child was with Lance when they returned, which was the 5-year-old girl. They brought them into Child Protective Services. Thankfully, the judge said that
Threw the book at them.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He blamed their real estate agent for not finding the judge pointed to a what is this word?
What word?
Pre-sentencing report.
Pre-sentencing.
Which the couple blamed their real estate agent for not finding a place isolated enough. And said, but I guess you should have explained to your realtor that you need an isolated place away from people so you can continue to abuse your children, which, yes. The eldest girl, who was 18, spoke to the court and said to White Feather, "I'll never understand how you can sleep at night. I want you to know that you are a monster," which, yeah.
They're monsters.
And I mean, I am not surprised that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I am not shocked.
Isn't this an episode of Atlanta?
Atlanta, yes, cool, because that episode of Atlanta
Was based off of another story like
the
this.
white lesbian couple, the Harts, who adopted those black children.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that video, the picture of that little black boy hugging the police during one of the Black Lives Matter?
Right.
They ended up killing all of them because they drove their van with themselves and their children off of a cliff.
Yeah.
And all of them died. And so it's been one of the reasons why people have constantly talked about the issues with transracial adoption. A transracial adoption is when a person of another race adopts someone of another race. And I think that is something that has to be discussed because I'm sure this is not the only time this has happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are plenty of white parents who are adopting black and brown and yellow children. And even if they're not making them do something as terrible as slavery, but are raising them to hate themselves, and are not having their best interest at heart. So I'm glad they got all those years, and I wish they'd get more. And I hope that they're getting beat up every single day in jail. I think maybe they should have to stand with dirty clothes with their hands on their heads for hours on end.
Yeah, agreed.
And be beaten and abused.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't feel any sympathy for them. Whatever they get when they're in there is whatever they get. So, I mean, being in West Virginia, I'm wondering how diverse the population might be.
They'll probably find a white section where they'll be praised for the work that they did.
The king and queens of the white supremacist Aryan nation in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, good for them. Fuck y'all. Anyone who would do anything to harm a child, regardless of their race, that is just disgusting. And I hope nothing but terrible things for you. And I mean, 200 years isn't long enough. I want it to happen from now until eternity. And I hope that your souls are damned and that when you die, that your hell is having to service black people somehow.
Black people in hell?
Now, I don't want them to be actual black people, but if you when they talk
yeah, how does that work?
Because in hell, the idea is that you're supposed to be having your worst nightmares be fulfilled. And so that I hope that the demons dress up as black people and make them do the reverse Django.
Sure. A reverse Django.
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe that should be the title.
Reverse Django. Why not? That should be their hell. Having to see black people prosper. until they, they're finished their penance. All right, so moving on to some less stressful news. The astronauts who have been stuck up in space are home.
Yes.
I hate the way that you walk.
Sorry. I was.
Did you mean to have that for?
I meant to play that earlier for the white couple. But I forgot to push that button. Air horns.
So, astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore have returned home from what was supposed to be an 8-day stay up aboard the ISS, the International Space Station, which was extended to 9 months because of some sort of like malfunctions or whatever bullshit.
Damn, just that's baby digestion time.
You mean gestation?
Sure. That too.
Well, they were kind of eating like baby food because they had to eat. They initially had fresh food, but they had to then eat like freeze dried and dehydrated meals. And
it's stretched out for 9 months.
Well, the thing about it. Okay, so this is the thing that when I came back to the Earth, if I was Sunny, I would be punching bitches in their face because there have been several trips from various people, various countries have gone to the ISS. Even from America, like even American space station people, astronauts have been going up there, but they told them they could not come down with any of those because like all of them were packed up with people who were like necessary for the mission. If you don't fucking switch us out, switch me out for Barbara so I can come back down and send someone else up to go with her or get one of the other countries to bring me back. Because the thing is, now that they're back, they can't even like come back, decompress, and like go home after like a week or two. They gotta stay in a very like strict decontamination because being in space for that long, their bodies are probably like jelly.
Yeah, their body's not
it's not accustomed to
Earth gravity
anymore. They even when they took them off the shuttle, they had to put them on stretchers. They can't even just like walk out. I'm punching bitches in their face.
Yeah, well,
you could have gotten me down.
I'm of the other mind that like you wanted to be in space, and now your ass is in space even longer than you expected. Oh well, that's what you get for wanting to be in space. Look, if you want to be in space, then you have to be prepared for an extended stay. It's just like,
you're not wrong.
If you decide to go to a war-torn nation just for some tourism shit, you might want to prepare yourself for your visa to get confiscated and then stuck there. Did you ever see that movie, The Terminal?
Yes.
Yeah. You might end up like Tom Hanks's ass being stuck in an airport for a bunch of years. I don't know if it was years.
There for quite some time.
He was there for quite some time. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that it's good that they're back, and I'm glad that they're reacclimating to Earth's gravity and everything like that. But I don't feel that bad that they got to float around longer than they expected, and they got to be on a diet of dry food. Like I'm so sorry. Look, now if it turned out that they were eating their own feces or and shit, like that'd be wild.
The water recycling system is drinking. They have to drink purified urine.
Well, yeah, like that. That machine is made literally to convert piss into water.
So that's what you have to drink your pee.
You're already up there drinking your own pee. It just means that you're drinking your own pee for a longer time than you had anticipated.
No.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad that somebody who was ready to drink their own pee for 8 days had to then drink their own pee for 9 months.
But I wonder if they had to drink their whole pee. Like maybe it's like initially they just were drinking their.
And at a certain point, you're just, what is the recycling process? Like, because like, if you're drinking water and it is converted to pee, which is then converted to drinkable liquid, right? Yeah. And you're drinking that liquid, then converting it to pee. And then it becomes like how long until the conversion is straight up just you're not converting it in anymore? Because you know what I mean. Like
I mean that's
it'd be one thing
question.
If it was like water or juice or soda, then converted to pee, then converted to drinking liquid.
This is a very
but
good
after
question.
a certain point, you're just drinking that same liquid, and it becomes an Ouroboros. Just eating its own tail of pee, recycle, drink, pee, recycle, drink, and you're just doing that. I feel no sympathy.
I don't know. I mean, I think that in general, this idea of going into space sounds great. You know, like
this sounds great.
It sounds great to me. Like, of course, you know, I love Star Trek. Like, I think that it sounds like it would be a cool time. Okay. However, my main fear of going into space is that I wouldn't be able to come down when I'm supposed to. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what Suni and Butch looked like when they went up. They look happy, all that, right? This is her coming down.
Oof.
That's what she looked like.
Well, yeah, you're gonna age quicker when you're in space.
And people were saying how like they were worried about her because they were like, "Oh, is she okay? Like, is she losing all this weight?" And she's like, "No, we're working out. It's just like, you know, a different type of food." Da, da, da.
How are they working out in space?
No,
like, what kind of dumbbells?
They had like what is it called? A treadmill.
They must have like anti-gravity.
Yeah, they put the stuff in there.
Yeah, they like something to simulate the Earth's gravity so that they can walk and shit like that.
And just to make sure their muscles are not like atrophying and just sitting there the whole time. But this is why, Gail, you need to keep your ass out of space. Because did you hear about Gail going up to space?
Gail who?
Gail King.
Gail King wants to go to space?
Gail King is supposed to be going up to space. And I think she needs to sit her ass back down.
I say good for her if she wants to go to space.
She's supposed to be going up there with Katy Perry.
Yeah.
And Lauren Sanchez. Like, what the... who are those people?
Who is Lauren? I mean, you know who Katy Perry is.
She's going up with an all-female crew on Blue Origin's upcoming flight this spring. This is the first. It's a historic moment because it's the first all-female crew to go to space since 1963. I don't think she should do it.
Why?
Because I don't want her getting fucking stuck up there.
I mean, if she's stuck up there, at the very least, she'll have some entertainment in the form of Katy Perry. Just listen to fireworks all the time. Over and over again.
She's supposed to be going with NASA engineer.
Tell her stories
Aisha
about Left Shark.
She's going with research scientist Amanda Nguyen, a film producer Carrie Ann Flynn, and Lauren Sanchez, helicopter pilot and fiance of the Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos. First of all, knowing that Jeff Bezos is involved, that shit is not going to work.
Oh, hold on. Isn't Lauren the ex-wife of Jeff Bezos?
No, Lauren Sanchez is the current wife, fiance of him.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
No, y'all don't need to be going up there. And honestly, if I left and went to space and was stuck up there for 9 months, would you allow me back into the house? Because I would have some fears.
No, I wouldn't let you back in the house.
Why not?
Well, because I probably would have said your dumbass shouldn't be in space. And yet you went, and now you want to come back after 9 months? I've been paying the bills and shit like that for 9 months. I want to go to space.
They were probably paying them every 2 weeks. You don't think they were paying them? They had to get some sort of overtime.
What are they using their debit cards up there in space for? They don't have vending machines in space.
can do a Venmo transfer.
A Venmo for what? Like what? They're not ordering DoorDash in space. They're not getting Uber Eats deliveries in space. What the fuck are they doing? Like probably, I guess, paying their mortgages or whatever the fuck.
But they probably have somebody on the ground.
On the ground, yeah.
I was thinking more so The Astronaut's Wife, that movie with Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron. When he comes back, the astronaut comes back and he has an alien in him trying to take over the world.
Right.
But
or Invincible.
No, well, yes, that's true. Speaking of DoorDash, did you hear about DoorDash changing its policy to become partners with Klarna?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about this.
So they have a new partnership where you can have a buy now, pay later option. You can split your payments or defer them for food and non-food items. It can also apply to Klarna, can apply to the DoorDash subscriptions. And because Klarna is basically trying to get everyday spending categories in the US.
This is terrible. This is a terrible fucking thing.
Terrible,
and it's a bad omen too.
Yeah, we are in a recession.
Yeah.
The recession is here. Because why
when you have to put your groceries on layaway,
like that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Could you imagine like being in like debtor's prison because you ordered too much Wingstop and you can't pay off your like $1,000 debt to fucking Wingstop?
Yeah. You decided that you wanted to order Outback Steakhouse from Bay Ridge all the way to Flatbush.
I like the bread.
And
I like that bread. Bloomin' onion.
And your ass would be the first one to go into severe credit score plummeting debt.
This is the thing.
All because you wanted a bloomin' onion.
People are going to be ordering. I love bloomin' onion. You don't like cooked onions.
No, I don't.
So the bloomin' onion is not for you. But you can get a steak and some cowboy baked potato with sour cream and bacon and stuff like that.
I would love a baked potato. I love me some potatoes.
But the thing is, people are probably not going to be ordering like regular meals.
No, they're going to order Fogo de Chao. I told you
boils.
the other day that I found out that Fogo de Chao was on Uber Eats.
I just don't feel like Fogo de Chao is a good thing to order online because I'm not getting are they sending me unlimited meat?
No, they're not sending you unlimited meat. So there's no point. Do you have unlimited money to order unlimited meats?
Unless I could say to my DoorDasher, "Oop, green panel, bring me more meat." Like,
green
there's
panel.
No point. That's not a good
Do you know
place.
how much that Uber Eats would run you if they're running back and forth from Fogo de Chao to your house?
That's not a good option. But a crab bag with with some lobster. You don't think people are getting lobster tails?
Yeah, they're gonna get lobster tails.
Dungeness crab.
Yeah,
they're getting the headless shrimp. All that in one bag with sausage and egg and the noodles. $100.
I stand the appeal of the noodles.
I like the noodles. It soaks up the butter and then it's an extra meal on the side.
Like
you don't like buttery pasta with garlic and shit on it?
Not while I'm eating my seafood out the bag.
After you eat that, you
but
pour it all over.
You're eating
pasta.
it at the same time as
it's
the
delicious.
fucking thing. And no, just throw in some sausage and potatoes and.
What about an egg? Get the egg in the crab bag.
What egg is in a crab bag?
Some people like to add the egg.
Like a boiled egg?
Some people like it.
That actually would be good.
It's not bad. It's not really actually like it's not like a Cajun one or but it's not like really a Creole bag with that in there. But I could say I've tried. I was confused why, but I tried it. It wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
But please, folks, do not go crazy at a juicy crab.
Yeah, don't go crazy.
Because it's unnecessary. If you cannot order your lunch, just make it at home. You got food at home. Unless you're buying groceries or something that's going to be able to last you, it's no point. All it's going to do is just make your life more difficult.
Another day older and deeper in debt. You got 45 Klarnas. What do you get? Some DoorDash and deeper in debt. Yeah. See.
But what if and then also, because you know what, sometimes when you get a DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, you don't even get the right meal. How are they going to deal with like grievances? Am I going to get my money back? Am I getting a credit? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, but Klarna has a thing where I assume affirms where if you return something and get a refund, it just adjusts the amount that you owe. So that's how it is with the firms. Like I didn't get something in the mail, and so I just said like I'll take a refund for it, and then they just adjusted the price of the affirms minus that piece.
Folks are going to be getting their deliveries, their DoorDash deliveries yanked up even more than usual because this seems like it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all of our politically thingies.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to go into some regular pop culture shenanigans?
Sure. Okay, and now that we've gotten all of the political stuff out the way, now we can get into pop culture stuff. So where do you want to start?
Well, we have some, I don't know if you'd call it sad news, but it's unfortunate news.
It's glad news.
Quinta Brunson has announced that she didn't announce.
TMZ announced
that she and her husband, Kevin J. and Nick, are getting divorced after 3.5 years of marriage.
That's something. There's any number of reasons why people would get divorced.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to sit here and speculate why they're getting divorced. I don't know what their relationship is or their marriage is. I wasn't in it. And I just looking at him, I don't want to be in it. No offense. But this just means that like two people found out that, you know, their relationship just wasn't working for them.
The divorce decree or the divorce whatever announcement the court said citing irreconcilable differences. Yeah, they were married in October.
Their differences cannot be reconciled.
They were married in 2021 and had a post-nuptial agreement, which is good for them. Brunson,
a post-nuptial?
Yeah, you can get a post-nuptial.
What's a post-nuptial agreement?
Same as
it's just like
it's just post after you get married.
Hold on. So I know prenubs to be like, hey, it's an agreement, and whatever that agreement is, a lot of times it's financial in nature.
Yeah, it could be financial, it could be anything.
You can get a post-nuptial agreement?
Yeah, you can.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can.
Like, just in case we get divorced, these are the terms that we're going to go with?
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Why is that so interesting?
I just found it interesting.
Why?
I did not know that. I didn't know that you can get a post nub. It makes sense for me to. It makes sense. A prenup makes sense because it's like, hey, we're going into this thing, and if it doesn't work out, then these are the conditions.
A
post nub just is like that. That means you're already married, and at some point you have a conversation like, hey, if things don't, it makes sense to say if things don't work out before the marriage than it does during the marriage.
Well, I think
it feels like that would be a point of contention if you're in the marriage and you're like planning for outside of the marriage.
I'm wondering if it's because like when did Abbott start?
Abbott's in season 4 right now, right?
Yeah, so probably started around this time. I'm wondering if once Abbott started going up and like her getting a lot more notoriety and money and fame, etc. Maybe she was like, I need to protect myself. That's
2021.
Okay, so maybe that's why she decided to have a post-nub. It says that Quinta is asking for the court to uphold the agreement and for each party to cover their own legal fees. So one of the funniest things is that a lot of people, for whatever reason, didn't realize that she was married.
Did they not realize she was married, or did not realize she was married to a white dude?
Well, both.
Or both.
But one of my people I follow on Twitter, Imani Barbarin, who's a disability activist, she had this funny tweet, which is connected to one of the most recent episodes that they had on the show, because someone had retweeted the announcement from Pop Craze and was like, divorce, husband white, and she said it's pronounced Wyatt. Which is literally
it said it
came from the show
from Ava. Yeah, it's like white. It's pronounced Wyatt.
And you know that if you watch Abbott, you know why that's a running joke.
Yeah, I love it. I love that joke.
There have been some speculations as to why. I'm curious if what's gonna happen for her next, and some folks are hoping they're trying to ship her and her co-star from Tyler. What's his name? Tyler something. Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah, Tyler James Williams.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're shipping them, because they have good chemistry.
They do have good chemistry on the show.
I wouldn't be mad at that if they got together.
Yeah. Although we don't know if Tyler James Williams is married or not. Like,
we don't. He could be in.
He could be in a whole relationship right now.
He could.
All right.
Speaking of people who are beginning and or ending nuptials, Jonathan Majors and
Megan Good
have gotten married. Is that
I mean, I'm a sucker for love, and
you are for their love.
Why not?
Why would that be something anybody would be excited about?
You just come off as a hater. They've been together for a while now.
Yeah, sure am.
It'd be one thing if this was like right after they got together, then that'd be questionable. They'd be like a beard or something like that. But it seems like they've stuck it out for quite some time now.
I have been hating on their relationship since it started because it's unnecessary. And I hate
a relationship is unnecessary.
It's an unnecessary relationship, and I hate it. And I don't care. Call me a hater all you want. I do not care. Jonathan Majors is a terrible, terrible person.
I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk.
I hate the way that you dress. Like a fucking civil rights character. And so to me, the timing of it was just very weird. Mm-hmm. Because if you all don't know, recently a audio got released where Jonathan Majors was talking about how he aggressed his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, the one that we saw in the video running out of the cab and all that.
The one he was running away from.
Yes, he was running away from. And so in the audio, it says, I'm ashamed. I've never aggressed a woman. I aggressed you. She heard you strangled me. She said you strangled me and pushed me against the car. And he said, yes, all those things are under aggressed. That's never happened to me. And for me personally, if someone told me that they aggressed me, like I'm punching you in the face. There's no way. You aggressed me? Like, get the fuck out of here. Aggressed. And then I want you to watch this. He had a interview with Complex about his new movie that just came out, and he was talking about
what's the name of the movie?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. Okay. I have no desire to like look it up, but if you want, you can. He has his new movie coming out where he's playing like a guy who's trying to become what is that, a heavyweight champion?
Is it Magazine Dreams?
Magazine Dreams.
Oh wait, no, that's from 2023.
Dreams, but it just came out.
Oh, okay, yeah, Magazine. Yeah, you're right.
So, he's in the movie. He's playing this guy who is trying to become a fitness champion. Like, what are those? Whatever those fitness champ, whatever they are, bodybuilder.
A bodybuilder.
And so this is a clip of him with Complex talking about they were asking him about like about this leaked audio coming out right as his movie's coming out, and this is his sociopathic response.
When something like this comes out during the week of your film's release, how did that make you feel?
I was so grateful that I had done my work, you know, and continue to, and I'm continuing to do my work. I can't speak to it, but obviously, because you're talking about it, you know, there are vibrations, you know, reverberations, same as everything before, you know. But I was happy I'd done my work, you know. I was happy I'd done my work.
You said recently in an interview that when you have a struggle, learn, metabolize, grow. This incident happened just this week, so you haven't really had too much time to process with it. But what have you been able to metabolize from that moment, since it was leaked?
Yeah, I'm living life, you know. I'm living life. I'm surrounded by loved ones and family and you guys, you know. I'm living life. Didn't need to be metabolized.
First of all, he had crazy eyes that whole video. That's number one. No emotion behind it. Honestly, I believe he's a sociopath.
I do want to ask you, how is somebody supposed to act in these situations? Because this is a unique situation, right?
Okay, if I were in his position,
yeah, let's say you
if I was
choke
in his
somebody
position,
out,
I choke somebody out, I aggress
you aggress somebody.
I would say, you know what?
Meet the aggressed. Is that like Meet the Press? That's what I was going for. And I think that might be the title.
If I aggressed somebody, and now I have a movie, whatever's coming out, and now I'm talking about it. About whatever, and they asked me, like, you know, this came out, I would say, you know what, this has been a difficult situation. I'm continuing to work on myself, to heal myself, to figure out what it was going on at that time that caused whatever to happen, whatever. Even if you said, like, you can't talk about it because of whatever, if there's a legal thing about it,
sure.
My answer is not going to be it's fucking vibes. Like, there's reverberations and vibrations. Like, shut the fuck up. He didn't say anything in there that would make me a person who would, you're talking to the media so that you can get people to watch this movie. Nothing about what he said made me feel like, you know what? I feel like he's done the work. What the fuck? What work are you doing? What is the work? Because that's the first thing people who have done jack shit besides lie to their therapist, that's what they want to say. I'm doing the work. Shut the fuck up. That's it. I don't feel any sort of sympathy for him. I don't feel any kind of like, oh, you've actually done anything to heal or grow or metabolize or whatever bullshit you have to say. Like, it doesn't feel genuine to me, and he just feels like a sociopath.
So anything short of just at least explaining what the work is that person has
Explain
done.
what the work. I want to know. I want to feel like you've taken accountability for your actions. I don't believe that just something can happen. You might make a mistake. We all make mistakes. We are all human. But I want to know that you're taking accountability for that mistake. And you're not just trying to push it under the rug, which he's been doing. Literally, that's the only reason why he married and has been with Megan Good. Because he's been using her as a smokescreen this whole entire time to get his career back. And I mean, look at this. He's gotten this movie out. He doesn't just have to do Tyler Perry's and whatever. Zeus
doesn't have to do Zeus and Tyler Perry's.
But like, that just doesn't feel
he
like
still is probably in the Zeus
No, of
house.
course he's still into doing Zeus. Like, people, he's talking, like, he was talking about in another interview how it might have been this one, but he was saying how, like, Robert Downey Jr., he's gotten more grace than me, and I just want the grace that he got. Like, Robert Downey Jr. had a very long list of things that he had been doing. And he was blackballed from Hollywood for a very long time. It was not until Iron Man that he was able to come back. But like, everyone, y'all could tell me if I'm wrong. Nothing that he did, from what I can remember, was anything against anybody else. It was like stuff that he was doing to himself. He had an addiction. He was harming himself. I don't recall him harming other people. If he did, please let me know. But I feel like that's a very big difference between someone having an addiction, harming themselves, their body, their relationships with their family and friends, etc., versus somebody aggressing folks and then acting as if we're just supposed to forget it and move on. And that I'm sick of Black men trying to use white men who have done terrible things as a reason as to why they should be allowed to continue because of the terrible things they've done. Because to me, y'all all, none of you should be. No one who's doing terrible things against other people should be not having to be held accountable for their behavior.
I just did a quick lookup. Looks like he was arrested 5 times, mostly for possession of heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded .357 Magnum pistol. At one point, he trespassed on his neighbor's home and intoxicated and fell asleep in the child's bedroom.
But nothing where he abused anyone or essayed anyone or anything like that.
I don't see anything like that.
So all these things were him harming himself. You harming yourself is a very different situation from you harming people. Mm-hmm. And not on top of it, it's like you harming people and not wanting to take ownership of that harm.
Sure.
That's, to me, is the biggest part. That he has never come out and tried to take ownership for the harm that he caused his ex-girlfriend. There are various other people who have come out and said, in other times in his life that he harmed them. None of those things are ever addressed. So I cannot give you any grace, give you a second chance, third chance, whatever, if you are not yourself going to take accountability. Other than that, it's just fuck you. I don't really, I don't care. Everybody else might say whatever. I personally that is just not for me. And he's clearly whenever they talk about men losing their whole careers, it doesn't happen, because he just was on Sherry Shepherd's show and she was crying and all this stuff. Meanwhile, Sherry Shepherd was just lambasting Megan Thee Stallion because she went to the Oscars and had pasties on and talking about how she's not a role model for Black women. But let's watch and see what she had to say for this man who has admitted to aggressing women.
My son moves through the world in a different way. Yeah. So to see you portray this character, it touched my heart. Mm-hmm. So that's why I cried, because you so beautifully portrayed this man who just moves through the world. Thank you. I appreciate that. It really meant something to me watching that movie when I watched you.
That is the grace that Black men, or men in general, get from the world after they have done harm to others, versus a woman, especially a Black woman, who just decides to have ownership over her body. It is never equal. It is always the woman's fault for causing chaos and causing young girls to go down these negative paths. But this man, who has been physically and emotionally abusive, is allowed to get a pass because he dresses like he's a part of MLK's entourage and fucking has cups and handkerchiefs all the time with him. It's just bullshit to me, personally.
Okay. I could see your point.
What did you think about his complex interview?
I don't know. He's not it. At the very least, he's not sitting up there in denial or trying to obfuscate.
You don't think he is trying to obfuscate in this situation?
I think he could do a little bit more in tackling it head on, I would say. And the I guess the leaked audio, first off, I find it weird that you would talk to the person that you aggressed and admit that you aggressed them unless you're apologizing. You know what I mean?
Which he didn't do. Well, I kind of did, but not really. Not enough.
Wait, hold on. So he just didn't do it enough?
No, he did not do it enough. You choked me, and now you're saying like, I'm sorry, I've never aggressed somebody before, but I aggressed you. Like, that's not saying I apologize for being a shit human being and putting my hands on you, which I should have never done because that was wrong. It was, I've never done this before, but I did it to you. Even when she said you strangled me and pushed me against the car, he said, yeah, all those things are under aggressed. That's never happened to me before. Like, okay, yeah, who cares if it never happened to you before? It happened now.
He could stand to be more apologetic.
He's not apologetic at all. There's nothing about anything he says that makes me feel like
that's why I'm saying he could be more apologetic.
He has to be apologetic, and he has to have even 1% of apologeticness to have more apologetic. But he's at a 0.
But isn't it at least a step to admit to the aggression that he
admitted it to her in private. He has not come out and said, I aggressed this woman. And I feel bad about that.
But wait,
I apologize.
hold on. So it sounds as though that he was at the very least trying to do this to the person that he it's weird saying aggress.
Because aggress is a fucking dumb, stupid word. I don't even think that it's a real thing.
He aggressed
he abused
this person.
He's saying aggress. I abused you. Just say I abused you. And I'm sorry for abusing you. I've never abused somebody before in my life.
But my point is that he should be making this public. It sounds like he was at least trying to address it to the person that he did it to.
Yeah, sure. But he still, at this point, once it became public, he never has tried to publicly make amends or take accountability for those actions. Whenever he said this to her, who knows when it was, like, he, throughout the time that he had his the court dates and all that, he kept making it seem to the public as if he was this man who was being aggressed by the media, this black man who has, the people are after him and da-da-da-da. If you're in a situation where something happened, it came out publicly, you need to have a public response and don't just apologize to me publicly. It was on TV and you called me a fucking liar. You have told the world that I lied and tried to destroy your career and I'm a terrible person. So you want to apologize to me about that, or for whatever aggressed, abuse, whatever words you want to fucking use. You need to be apologizing to me in public and taking accountability for that in public, because what is the point? How can you try to label yourself as this person who should be a role model for the masses and people, someone that people should look up to and try to like, who's learning and growing and doing the work and all that other bullshit, if you're not even taking accountability for the bullshit that you did publicly? Because it was a public situation. It wasn't this is not a pirate situation. I would not, if you and I got into an argument, if I did something to you, you did something to me, I don't expect either one of us to go on freaking Facebook or Twitter and say, I did this to this person and I apologize. That'd be stupid.
That would be
But
stupid.
if there was a video of that happening and it's going viral, then me saying, I need to come out and say, I apologize for this thing, because what happened was it wasn't this private thing that happened between us. This private situation, it went public. I embarrassed you. And I also threw dirt on your name because I tried to make the world seem as if you were lying on all these things. I had you go through a whole fucking court case. So there's nothing about this that does not equal as much of a...
It is time to call it a night.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, turn on all lights. There's nothing about this situation to me that he should not be as vocal as he was about his innocence. He should be as vocal about his alleged apology and accountability.
So you're saying that the apology should be as loud as the, I guess, confrontation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yes.
Okay.
And he's because that is my one of the biggest things the issues I take and the umbrage that I have with this situation is that it does not feel like at once that he has really taken accountability and said, this is a thing that I did. I apologize. This was wrong. Now let me be the role model that I'm trying to pretend that I am. And let me help to make sure other Black men and boys are not going down this path, this place of aggressing people. This is what was going on with me. This is what I'm doing to fix it. This is the conversations we need to have so that people are not continuing this cycle of violence. I don't think that is that hard. And I'm sure if he still had a press team, they would probably be telling him to do that as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
He's going to do as little or as much to keep himself from having to really, say what he did because he doesn't want to admit what he did. And that's just what's going to happen. And nobody can force him to do anything besides not see his movies, I guess. But I'm sure they still will because men never face real consequences for being abusers, unfortunately.
Well said. What's next?
Do you want to talk about Kanye's craziness or Drake first?
Kanye feels like that's going to be a whole thing. So let's just do Drake first.
All right. So Drake has a lot going on. First, I guess some good things he's got going on is that he has been working. He's working with Jermaine Dupri and Stars for a 5-part documentary of Magic City and American Fantasy about the Atlanta strip club, which,
he runs to Atlanta when he needs a few dollars.
They said it. They said that. But also he has there's still more legal updates.
Mm-hmm.
With his UMG came out in one of their motions. They had a bit of a scathing some scathing words for him to try to dismiss his lawsuit against them. They said that they're arguing that Drake has failed to make a claim for defamation in his suit, stating that it's a double standard to expect them to promote his diss tracks against Lamar and not vice versa. The motion adds that Not Like Us conveys non-actionable opinion and rhetorical hyperbole not fact, meaning they can't be accused of acting with malice, and further claims there's no basis for the suit since Drake failed to state a claim for harassment in the second degree and under New York business law. They also mentioned that he lost a rap battle that he provoked. Which that part to me was honestly,
he did provoke it.
Chef's kiss.
He did.
That was the kind of the best part of it, because
we listened to the Taylor Made freestyle, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So he was like, talk about the young girls, like, in a Tupac voice or dumb shit like that. Like he brought on all of this. He
told Kendrick to drop him. That's what it is. That's what you said. What, I don't know what you told me to do the thing. I did the thing. Now you're upset.
Yeah.
So Drake's attorney, Michael J. Gottlieb, said UMG wants to pretend that this is about a rap battle in order to distract its shareholders, artists, and public from a simple truth. A greedy company is finally being held responsible for profiting from dangerous misinformation that has already resulted in multiple acts of violence. What are the multiple acts of violence?
His house got shot up.
But how do we know that's about this?
It happened during the time. But he also
had various other beats.
And the Weeknd bodyguard got shot.
But those were also, but the Weeknd and him were beefing.
It all took place. It all took place during the time period that this beef was occurring. So they're all tying it together.
This motion is a desperate ploy by UMG to avoid accountability, but we have every confidence that this case will proceed and continue to uncover UMG's long history of endangering, abusing, and taking advantage of its artists. Now, I'm curious. What I'm curious to know, how has Drake used UMG to like abuse other artists or whatever? Because he has been with them for quite some time, and he's had many other diss tracks that have come out. So, like,
against Meek Mill.
Did you use them, and that's why you are up here trying to state that they're doing this to other people? Questions. And then recently, so I saw this post come up from at Uncle Drunk Tony. It says the original post showed Jamie Foxx at a Super Bowl watch party and everybody was singing Not Like Us, and so he had responded about that, saying that that young man is going to lean so hard into his right-wing streaming pals and comedians soon as part of his revenge tour. Moving to Texas, like Elon, was the first step, or he gets back to making fire music. And then he reposted his original post and said it's happening, and showed us and added this video to make his point.
You got beat up.
Oh
he
shit!
He was kind of shocked.
You're gonna love this. Drake is in the chat.
Drake is in the chat.
He said, "What is the fight of the night?" Chat. By the way,
yo, there's so many.
My boy Drake, man, he fucks with you, Andrew.
Yeah. I've yet to meet Drake. I look forward to
I'll make that happen. He's a really good dude.
Drake's in the
Drop
chat.
and give me 50.
Kanye's on text. Kanye's like, answer. I'm like, yo, I'm with Top G and I'm with Aiden. We're commenting. I can't call you right now. He wants me to call him.
Hold on, you with the champ too, Teofimo.
Thank you. Of course.
Two-time leading your world champion. Say what's up to Drake as well.
But Kanye
what up,
loves
Drizzy?
you.
Aubrey, what up, baby?
I don't know why. He loves you though. Please welcome.
So, if those are the type of people that are piling themselves around Drake, we only have to assume that he's up to no good.
Yeah.
Because Andrew Tate just got back from, was it Romania? Because he and his brother were being charged with like kidnapping and graping women there. And it's funny that academics mentioned Kanye, because Kanye is in a whole other world of trouble. Now, first because recently TMZ reported that Kim Kardashian abruptly ended Northwest's visit with Kanye West after learning from security guards that Andrew and Tristan Tate were on their way to the location and would be in the presence of her daughter. She also was upset because Kanye West dropped a new song that featured Diddy and North.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kim tried to get a judge to stop the song from coming out. Of course, Kanye has gone on all kinds of tirades about that, tirades about Kim Kardashian's past, saying, and that he was talking about how like white women with mixed children want to like take over the children, which was dumb because like you created those mixed children with her. So don't know why that would be a thing. Then he went on a tirade against Jay-Z and Beyonce, saying, wait, has anyone ever seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's younger kids? There are words. No, like literally, and this is why artificial insemination is such a blessing. Having R-worded children is a choice. I need everyone to know that I took the post, and then this was the next post he tweeted. I need everyone to know that I took the post about Jay-Z and Beyonce's family down, and Jerry Lorenzo's family down, because that was a possibility of my Twitter being canceled because not because I'm a good person. I took it down like Down syndrome. Get it? Am I right? Am I right? Fuck the world. Real talk. Fuck everybody. So Kanye, like any other time, has continued to be a menace to society, and not in a way that like endears us to him. He's gone a far way from George Bush doesn't like black people to now coming after Beyonce and Jay-Z's children. Because like, for what? Why are you talking about anybody's children? Like, what would be the reason? That's insane to me.
Yeah, it's insane. This is why I don't even pay attention to Kanye rants anymore, because they're all filled with like vitriolic nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Like he clearly doesn't have a team that is in his best interest.
Yeah.
Because if they were, they would take his fucking phone away from him. But they never do. And it also like sucks that he feels as though this is what he needs to do to promote his music and talent and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like he actually just dropped his it's a 45-minute music video of his entire Bully album, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The first version of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to it, and just to stay abreast and stuff. And I think
was it, did you like it?
Times I forget who, Rolling Stone or something, said, unfortunately, bad person Kanye West made really good music. Like it
so do you like the album?
I do like it, but I'm not going to listen to it again. I'm not going to go back and listen to it. I can't. Like, it's just because I don't want to sit here, and it's one thing to just go through it once just to see what everybody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sit here and like prop up and give more listens and streams and stuff to this individual, because like I just don't think that he needs to do any of this shit to sell his music.
I mean, honestly, a lot of times I do think he is having a manic episode.
I don't think it's a manic episode.
You don't think he's having a bit of mania?
No, because it always circles around his music. It's always in promotion of something. True. I think I do think that he is bipolar, or he has some sort of mental justification for these actions. I do think that he has something that he needs to see therapy for.
Yeah.
But I don't think that these are those outbursts that are just like random. Because if it was random, then it would happen on a random Tuesday, and nothing else would come from it. Like, these are strategically like I'm gonna say the worst possible things and have swastikas and all these other things like circled around it just so that I can then promote like my music.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strategic and it's upsetting because it then makes it seem like it takes away from those who actually experience mental experiences. Mental health experiences, I should say. And it makes it seem like you can control whenever these outbursts happen.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting to me, like, you know, last week we talked about Wendy Williams and she's under conservatorship. And I find it interesting that like we never get any word about men getting these conservatorships, even when they're doing like these ridiculous, terrible things and having all of these various episodes. But we don't see men going into a conservatorship. And if anybody is under, should be put under one, like I would put Kanye at the top of the list. Like if you're saying, oh, we need to make sure that this person is safe from themselves and safe for others, etc., make him go into a forced conservatorship where he needs to be going to therapy, taking his meds, making sure that he is going to be a safe person to have around his children. Because if you're bringing men like Andrew Tate and Diddy around your children, I have very serious doubts that you are able to provide a safe space for your teenage daughter and your sons to be around anybody else, because you clearly don't know how to differentiate between good and bad people, and that is a problem.
I also find it weird that he's talking like, oh, have we ever seen the youngest of the Carter children? We haven't seen the youngest of the West children.
Not as much. I mean, but
Psalm and
Saint, maybe?
Psalm and Saint, because there's four of them. There's North, Psalm, Saint.
I don't know what the youngest one's.
I don't know what the other one is.
But Beyonce has said very clearly that we've seen we've seen Rumi a bunch. We don't ever see Sir that much, but Beyonce has said Sir does not like all these people. He doesn't like all these big crowds, everything that comes with coming out with us, like in doing these big family things. So I don't have him come out. And why would I? If your child, even though they're a kid, if they have expressed an issue, whether they have the words to vocalize it, or you could just notice that because you're paying attention as a parent, my child doesn't like this. Why would I continue to put them in that situation? You don't need to. They have enough money and other people around to like, okay, we're going to go to the Oscars. You stay. We're going on to this. Like, we don't need to be out in front at the tour, because even the only reason that Blue Ivy was even front row and center because she asked to be.
Sure.
These are things that she was requesting. So I think that like coming after these children, especially if you, even regardless if they have any sort of intellectual disabilities, if they were if they have anything else going on, there is even more reason for you not to be talking about them negatively and then putting out these slurs. It's like it's just really disgusting and gross. And I like, there was at one point where I remember like years ago after Kanye's mom died, and he would sometimes be having these various rants, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt of like, you know, I think that his mom passing definitely affected him.
But his mom has no offense, but his mom has been dead for quite some time, like since I was in college, so at least a decade.
It's been a very long time.
Like,
he has the access and the means
to go to therapy.
There's plenty of people who work regular 9-to-5s who barely have any insurance,
who don't have access to resources,
and
but
they're not doing these things.
But he does have access to resources. He should be able to figure out his own shit.
Go speak to the lady. And leave us out of it.
Exactly. Okay, so that's been Pop Topics. Now we're about to go into the things that are pissing us off and making us big, mad, and annoyed.
Bringing it. What? We gripe it. We're not griping anywhere else. We gripe it. This safe space for us to share. We gripe it. We ain't griping anywhere else. We gripe it.
Okay, so what's bothering you?
What's bothering me is not having control over my paycheck finances, having and also archaic
bureaucracy
that makes every single thing take forever. Like, not gonna go into it, but there was, I mean, first of all, Mercury's retrograde, so I know that shit's gonna be topsy-turvy a little bit. Things are gonna be annoying, having to deal with delays and all that. But it annoys me that I can be impacted by things that have nothing to do with me and nothing to do with what I did, because I did what I was supposed to do. But because maybe one person might forget something, that now I'm going to be impacted and my finances are going to be impacted. And because of the overarching bureaucracy, that it's not like just a simple fix. It turns into, okay, now it's like, this thing's not going to happen next week. Fine. Not that it's going to be a few days. Now it's going to be like a few weeks. And that's just really frustrating. And that's pissing me off.
Okay.
What about you?
Just late night one-on-ones. Unfortunately, you get direct reports who are on the overnights, and therefore you gotta do one-on-ones with them after 10 o'clock when they
I
get
really
in.
feel like they should make, when you have to do that, they should make them come in earlier.
Come in,
Like,
what,
come
like
in like
at
an
9?
hour. Yeah, just so that you can get it through. Like, because why am I like? Because you're not giving me food. You're not giving me any extra things to stay late. I can't come in late an hour later the next day. They should make the person come in.
Well, if they came in earlier, they'd have to, because like I don't think they get paid if they come in earlier. That's the problem.
Or let's do a virtual one or something.
Well, how we do?
You could be, if you're at home, they're there. Okay, we'll.
Like earlier in the day.
Or that, or just being like, you come home, and then when they're there, you could do the virtual.
But again, that's still like they're doing something for work and they're not getting paid for it.
No, I'm talking about you. You being at home and saying, okay, I'm going to call you at 11. I'll be home by then. I'll give you a call. We can go over this,
I see what you're saying.
versus you having to stay in the office.
I see what you're saying.
Because it's so much different from like, I'm at home doing something versus I have to then wait for you to finish, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Bureaucracy's dumb.
Bureaucracies are dumb. If that's everything, then let's go to the things that made us happy.
I'm the baby merchant. Chops are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
Doing this podcast with you. And also, shout out to my friend Josie, who is staying strong. Not gonna go into why, but she's staying strong, and I salute her for that.
Shout out to you, Josie.
Yeah. So that's just making me happy this week.
All right. Well, I saw this cute little video this week, so I wanted to share it. And here it is.
No, I'll stand. No, because I wanted to set this meeting up with Draco's parents. Absolutely. This is Lucius Malfoy with the bust down 613. Lucius, I'm surprised you showed up. No, babe, I handle it. No, I got it. Why is your son committing hate crimes to my child every day in class? Every day. He learned it from somewhere. Talking about some pure blood. I got some bloods for you. They'll come right to you, though. We got muggle, mud, blood. I mean, how many more slurs he got? It won't be happening anymore. It will not. Oh, Lucius, you and your lace front are not going to disrespect me. at all. You got the right one today, Lucius. You got the right one. Your biggest op is Harry, and he ain't even hit puberty yet. He's 12. Oh, I done heard about you, Miss Lush. You getting horsed around by a wizard with no body. Voldemort lived under a bonnet like an old silk press. Oh, I can't say Voldemort? I don't care. Ain't nobody scared of no Voldemort. And who is this?
I'm Dobby.
So you got slaves? It's slaves here.
That was the baddest Mitch on Twitter. She is a very hilarious influencer that I've followed for some time. And I always think her videos are really funny because she's been doing like, she's for a long time has done like these Harry Potter esque videos. And I always think they're very funny and very cute. So go follow her at biggest Mitch. Other than that, happy birthday. Ooh, excuse me. Happy birthday to my mom. Grateful to have another year on Earth with you. And I hope that this year is bringing even more blessings and joy and abundance. Got to see her. Went out to dinner with her yesterday with my auntie Debbie and my cousin Celine, which was great. And I am just happy that we had to spend time together because I hadn't seen her for a while.
Sure.
Other than that, getting to do this podcast with you every week, and pushing through even when we got a lot going on, but still doing the damn thing. It makes me happy.
Oh, shout out to my sister whose birthday was this week. My bad.
Birthday to
Happy
you,
birthday,
Shanique.
Shanique.
Happy birthday to you too. Thank you for all your love and support. So yeah, doing this podcast with you makes me happy, and yeah, so
all right, if that's everything, then that's everything. We will be back next week with more of the Black and Sturdy podcast. Until then, take it easy, keep it sleazy, and bye.
Oh wait,
what?
Thank you for the Wrestling Kickback for having us on your recent episode. It's up on YouTube. Go watch it. Follow them. Share, subscribe, etc., etc. Shout out to you, Mari.
And Matt.
Shout out to you, Matt. We always are so grateful for having us on. One day we're gonna have to return the favor. So.
Yes. So we're gonna have them on at some point, and it's gonna be dope. Until then, take it easy, keep it sleazy. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snurdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snurdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's ThatSOD_THATSOD.E. And on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Sturdy Podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.